we got to get into one of the most, I don't know, man. Wrestling news is so weird. Wrestling news is so weird. One of the most I can't tell you how much I cared about something and then literally maybe like 30 minutes later no longer cared anymore just from the way it was presented.
Yeah, didn't care. But obviously, we're talking about the MJF thing. What was it? What was this weekend?
This weekend. So actually, well, let me not say anything. All I'm saying is join the Discord. But
well, on the disc, no, yeah, you're right. Join the Discord. But go
ahead. However, there was some news that broke late Saturday night that MJF wasn't happy and he was prepared to miss Double or Nothing and may or may not have had a flight scheduled out of Vegas.
Yes.
Would he have made Double or Nothing? We don't know.
Then hours after that, he wasn't on the plane.
The plane part is the worst part for me. The plane part is the worst part for me because it wasn't even necessary to part of the story at all.
So dramatic. So like at this point, it's like I don't even care if he go. Well, he can't go anywhere. You know what I mean? So it's just like, so what is the, unless they just fire him, which they don't do over there. And the idea is that MJF no-showed a fan event earlier that day on Saturday. He no-showed the fan event. People saw him playing craps. I feel like he was doing that in the view of fans so that they would see him out playing craps and not at the fan event.
That's a steez. That's literally what he does.
Yeah. And I feel like he's very aware of, what the fuck he's doing and how he does it and all of that. And a lot of the people were up in arms and all this type of shit. It is pretty embarrassing. A lot of people are saying this is a work. Brian Alvarez seems to think it's a storyline. I don't know who this benefits if it's a storyline, Meelz. I just really don't. If it's a storyline and it turns out that it's fake, how as a fan could you trust this company anymore?
Yeah, I don't see why, to be honest with you. I don't think anything. I feel like these are the same people who call the Cody thing a work, right? That Cody was supposed to become the GM of ROH and all of this was a work, right? Like at some point you got to realize like how business is actually done and how people actually respond in these kind of situations. This is not a situation that's just within wrestling, right? Like people get fed up of places and want to leave all the time. People want more money, and if they don't get it, they threaten to leave all the time. This isn't a situation that's just wrestling based. So to kind of like call it a work, just because it's, shout out to MJF, and I would understand it's a work, but I also feel like he has not necessarily a limit, but I don't think he would play like that, especially when it comes to like stuff that he's wanted and stuff that he's voiced. Like if you've listened to the things that he has said over the last 6 months in various interviews and various things like that, and the motions that he's made toward WWE and contracts and all this other stuff like that, you can clearly see that this is something very, very important to him. So I'm not sure why this would be a work.
Well,
pay him.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is this: they could just pay him, and this would be all over. This would be a wrap if they just pay the nigga. Just pay him. No one will be talking about it.
He's worth it, in my opinion. For AEW, he's worth it.
Or you could not pay him, and then the idea becomes, right. So this guy who you signed on a beginner deal when y'all first started, y'all have since got a TV deal. You have a rights deal coming up, which I'm pretty sure they probably told him to wait for. You've seen CM Punk come in. You've seen Keith Lee come in. You've seen Adam Cole come in. You've seen pretty much the whole Undisputed Era come in. You've seen Tony Storm come in. You've seen all manner and sorts of people come in since you've been signed and grow into this behemoth of a startup company. And they're going to tell you that we can only give you this much. I would, fuck you too. A lot of people are saying, oh, he's not out till 2024. And I'm like, yes, but 2 years in, you get an extension and they want to see if they can extend you at that point. So that's probably why this conversation is happening right now. They probably had a conversation with him, probably said they can't do it, and this is the result, right? I get it. I get the anger. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of hearing about it. Leave me and my family alone. This is nearing Kanye Kardashian level of bullshit. Leave me, Will and Jada, Will Smith slap level of discourse. Leave me and my fucking family alone, bruh. If you're gonna leave, fucking leave. Because then the idea becomes at Double or Nothing, will he show up and will he care? You had everyone literally trying to, they were analyzing that tape like the JFK assassination, bruh. Did he care? Did it look like he wanted to be there? Was he cool?
He was
Bro,
professional. I'll tell you.
he is.
I know you got a lot of flack for that, but I will say that he was. I'm not saying he was not, but he showed up and he did the job, and whether he had the boo boo face on or not, he showed up and he did the work. He didn't oversell. He didn't undersell. He took every power bomb because he wasn't the only one kind of that was affected by this. The entire last 6 months of Wardlow's career would be affected if he just didn't show up.
Yeah.
How would that have stunted how things have gone for him? So I think it's admirable that he showed up because, everyone likes to throw in our face like they're independent contractors. They don't have to show up where they want to. I was like, well, they kind of have a contract. Like you get sued if you really. But
if I did anyone say, oh, man, I hope MJF is looking at his contract or his legal options.
They ain't say that shit. But no, I think it's admirable, and I think it's professional that you showed up and still did the job, especially for someone, for what it meant for someone else in that company. He showed up, did his job, got powerbombed 10 times, took the stretcher out, and then flew out of Vegas apparently. And according to
old Sean Ross, I have a lot to think about. The fuck you got to think about?
Are they gonna pay you or not?
Yeah, white people get on my nerves, man.
I just want to know if they're gonna pay him or not.
They better pay him. They fucking better pay him, bro. I'm sorry.
There's a ton of different variables that go into this, and one of the things is what you just explained with everybody coming in, money, deals, all these other things. The other variable is, man, turn on Monday Night Raw. See Cody Rhodes flapping in the wind with his, looking like money, talking with the best of them, main eventing a pay-per-view, by the way, coming up on Sunday, which we'll do predictions for in a bit. But that's another aspect to this. Is like, is the grass really greener on the other side? And this is someone who's had dreams of going to the WWE and has not made it very, has not minced words that, yeah, if the opportunity is there, I would definitely like to go. But he also knows his own worth, which is something that I think, to be honest with you, a lot of people in the wrestling business, you're kind of like taught that by experience. You kind of you go through various iterations of Diddy and the Locks and their contract things that happened. You remember when that happened on radio?
Yeah.
We might have a whole generation we might have alienated because of that. But go look it up. It's on YouTube. I'm sure it's on YouTube. You gotta to kind of know your worth. By wrestling, you kind of go through various iterations of that. Especially on the independent scene. Do I want this? Do I want that? I'm not offering to give you this, but I'll give you this, etc., like that. This is a man who is taking up television time every week. Every week, first hour of the show, you can guarantee MJF will be there speaking, competing, pushing a storyline, something of the rather. I'd say if you're willing to put him in that first hour every week and feature him on the show, pay the man. Because there's a million other people that you ain't featuring on that show that's still getting paid, and probably getting paid more than MJF, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, CM Punk is for sure getting paid more. And my thing is this: how much money do they got left? There's supposed to be a meeting. Allegedly, MJF supposed to be meeting with Tony Khan, but also Tony Khan's they're in California this week. They're at the Forum on Wednesday. Huge show for them. I think it's damn near sold out, and if it's not sold out, it will be on Wednesday. Big accomplishment for them. I'm not gonna take that away from them at all. It's a real arena. This should be clear. The Forum. It's a real one. You know what I mean? I mean, it ain't crypto, but but you know what is to come from that? You know what I mean? What will happen there? They've allegedly taken him off the road. There's so much misinformation and news. But I think the biggest thing about the news surrounding Cody, not Cody Rhodes, but MJF. Did you notice that on Patreon we didn't talk about Athena at all? Like we just kind of like skipped past her.
I don't want to say something.
You want to regret?
I don't know if I'm gonna regret it. I don't know if I'm gonna regret it. So I'm just gonna say. Someone told me if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and who am I to what are we to believe? It's going to come out of this. I mean, the MJF is a huge part of this show, and huge part of all of this. Like, who's to say?
It's still amazing to me. People are still getting signed. That's what's shocking to me. That they're still getting signed. There's no room on this television show, and people are still getting signed. I'll be honest with you, Athena. Is she a great performer? Absolutely. Do you need her on this roster? No. Y'all got too many people. Y'all don't have enough time for all these people. Poor Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander, Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho is supposed to be the face. She ends up getting booed in the result of this. You know why? Because of negligence. Because of taking a person that people cared about and pushing them to the back for 2 years, 3 years at this point. So where do you go? Where does the development of all this talent go? Where does Jungle Boy go? Where does Darby Allin have to take a look at his contract? And he's going to be like, yo, dude, is this something that I kind of want to do?
Yeah.
Hey, people got to, they spell it out for you. We don't got to spell it out for you. Just look at the moves. Look at the moves that they do and just understand that, like, there's a pattern. You know what I'm saying?
Real quick, Wade Keller just put out a really, really good article on the MJF situation. He was only making from 40. Huh?
No, I was gonna say, read it to me, Audible. Come on. Here we go.
Keller said the issues between MJF and Tony Khan have been. Shout out to Wade Keller. I've always said this. I believe Wade more than most people on certain things, and I said this during the Keith Lee thing.
Mm-hmm.
He said that the issues between MJF and Tony Khan have been brewing for a couple of months. On his no-show to the meet and greet on Saturday, Keller said that the way that it was portrayed to us is MJF was in no place to be in public. He was in a bad place. And so it just seemed, if not mutually agreed upon, it was pretty obvious to everybody that it would not be good for him to make a public appearance yesterday. So things got kind of rolling. I've been learning stuff behind the scenes, off record, on background for a while, and pieced together some more details as the story went along. This weekend was circled, I was told, as a weekend where people in AEW were hoping that Tony and MJF would sit down and hash out their differences. There was just a hope that cooler heads would prevail. Tony Khan on social media can come across sometimes as defensive, but his demeanor otherwise, from at least anything anyone's seen, is pretty calm, cool, and collected. MJF is a little different. He gets really worked up, and by all accounts, he's been so worked up that he just became sort of withdrawn and bitter to observers and people who have been around him or observed him at Dynamite lately. For the better part of 2 months, there has been tension between these two, and it initially appeared to be sparked by MJF not going through the PR department to schedule an interview that he did with Ariel Helwani back in April. I'm sorry for anyone listening to this. It's the first time I'm reading this, so I'm reading it literally as I go. He was told that the interview would have been improved had MJF gone through proper channels, and he didn't, and he was reprimanded for it because he was bypassing standard protocol. A key source in AEW, yeah, protocol. We know all about AEW interview protocol. I want to get to the contract stuff. Let me find that. Let me find the contract stuff.
Scroll on down, Audible.
A starter deal in AEW is 40 to 70K. Oh,
damn, bro.
Lord Jesus.
They probably was looking at your wedding like, damn, I hope one day I could I could be like this
Bruh.
nigga.
Oh my God. Nah, man.
Come on,
40 to
man.
70. And like you can make a living, but it's a starter deal. You cannot, in fact, make a living off of that. I'm sorry. You cannot make a living off of that. And I know there's some people who are just on a per day basis, but this is among the people who started signing starter contracts, people without a lot of leverage and any national TV exposure. And Tony was at a point where he's handing out a bunch of contracts and wanted to see who would be good and who wouldn't be, and who he wanted to stick with and who he wouldn't. And so a lot of money goes out to people who, a lot of people, when you get that starter contract. And the idea for Tony is, when they come to the ones who deserve it, they'll get a raise. By the way, MJF was given a raise once since he signed to AEW. So it's making substantially more than a starter contract, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it is modest compared to the contracts of more than half a dozen free agent signings AEW has made over the past year. Christian, Mark Henry, Malachi, Adam Cole, Brian Dennison.
No.
That's 6 right there. And I'm leaving off a couple more. All of them are making more than MJF right now. And I'm told that with confidence. So yes, he got a substantial raise percentage wise, but it's modest compared to the contracts of more than half a dozen free agents just in the last year. I think anyone would agree Brian Dennison and CM Punk deserve more than MJF, but you would argue that Adam Cole should probably be in the ballpark. And if he's paid more, it's not like a huge deal, but MJF has been more valuable to AEW than Adam Cole. If you look at Christian, Malachi, Mark Henry, I mean, he's obviously worth more, and he's been worth more to the company, and he's just not getting paid near what they're getting paid in most cases. Actually, in many cases, these wrestlers are getting paid 4 to 5 times more than him. So MJF, by all accounts, is fuming over this. Oh, by the time January 1st, 2022 came around, yes, he got a new contract and a raise, but MJF was thinking, come on, Tony, approach me. Get me on the level of some of these people you keep bringing in. I'm doing great work, drawing great ratings. And when Tony didn't do that, MJF, the way he handled it was to get angry very privately. Then he kind of exploded.
This is journalism right here.
Hey. I rather enjoy Wade Keller because most of the time he does do the work.
Let me tell you something. First of all, boot the NXT thing. Scrap that. Shout out to the War Report. We'll see you guys on Friday. I know what this is. MJF paying rent. And just like all the other rent prices in this damn country, they told him, yo, we're going to need a little bit more. So he goes to his boss, Tony Khan, like anybody else would go to, and says, yo, I'm going to need a little bit more. And Tony was like, yo, how much you need? You know what? I'll give you a little. You want 5%, 7%, 8%? I'm going to give you 8% because you know what? That thing you did with Darby Allin, that was a bang up job. I'm going to give you that because I know it's tough out here. It's tough out here in these streets. And then, I don't know, someone must have told him, must have seen Adam Cole pull up on the freshest thing. Must have seen Christian Cage.
Got a Tesla.
Christian Cage showing up in a matching Tesla, nigga.
You gonna cry in the Tesla, or are you gonna cry in the best friend's van?
What's her name? What's her name's mom pick her up?
Trent mom, I don't know, bro. Hey,
carpooling to Daily Palace and shit.
Hey man, I don't want to laugh at people's financial circumstances. I'm more laughing at Tony Khan, bro.
I'm laughing at Tony Khan. I'm laughing at this situation because this situation, when you read about it and when you look at it, and quite honestly, we got
and compare this.
Sorry,
and compare this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
I mean, comparatively to NXT developmental projections of their payment, this is 40 to 70 is close. But taken to the account, they get the gym, they get the teaching, they get, you know what I'm saying? They put them up pretty well. They don't even have to pay for travel in NXT. You know what I'm saying? Like comparatively in AEW, I'm pretty sure they're not getting half of that, you know?
We just read this report.
Yeah.
But also, we spent 25 minutes before pretty much
Talking about
saying all the shit that what he's saying here. I'm not saying believe us. I'm not saying the Discord is fire and you guys should sign up. All I'm saying is we got a general gist about these kind of things. So listen, if MJF don't want this nigga pulling up in a Tesla in the parking lot doing U's, but Britt Baker also got a Tesla.
Mm.
Listen, get your money, young man. Get your money.